Good afternoon, friends. Today we'll look about relationships. Now, in a relationship, particularly if it's a business relationship, what do we look at when we enter into a partnership or a commitment to do a project or get into some activity? You want to get a team or another one person also to get into. It calls for commitment. There may be conflict of skills, or there could be complementary skills, and the building relationship that will actually work the project out, that is, get the project moving. So here, when we look at it energetically, we look at the left parasympathetic nervous system and the right parasympathetic nervous system. So when in Sahaja Yoga, and as it is very well known across the world, Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi used to get marriages done based on just the photograph and the bio of the boy and the girl, and she used to match and get them married. And it used to take in large numbers, means group marriages used to happen, and she was very fond of that particular activity. And it used to take place twice, every year, once at Ganpatipule and once in Italy. So now here, how does she match the boys and girls? Just the photographs. She would sense the energy and see how do they complement each other, so that there can be a balancing of the energies, right? And it was found over a period of time that many marriages took place across countries. Means the girl was from one country, the boy was from another country, usually the west and the east, and many western boys and girls wanted to get married to the Indian so that they get the culture. And then her justification was that there should be a cultural exchange, so that there can be an intermingling of cultures, and a more bondage can happen. Bonding can happen, not bondage, bonding can happen between cultures and countries of the world. But it was often noticed that many marriages ended in failures. Some marriages, of course, they were very successful, and some marriages failed, and there was a lot of controversy, or unhappiness surrounding that. The reason for that is, while we may match energies, the energies in different countries work differently. Because the left-sided energy, while it may be a motivating factor in the Eastern cultures, it may be a depressing factor in the Western culture. Whereas a right-sided activity, right-sided energetic person might be very good in, maybe helpful in a Western nation, but if it is in a country in an Eastern, more quieter country, the girl is hyper activity may actually not work. So there are many other factors involved in that. So when as a trainer, I was a trainer for three separate tenures when I was working in the bank, and I had to face all kinds of groups, whether it was a clerical, even sub-staff, or officers, executives, everybody. So how do you handle each class? Each class have a different level of skills, intelligence, approach to a particular approach to the subject. So very often you have to prepare mentally to approach them at that level. So when you have to approach them at that level, so you accordingly program or plan out your class, or your it used to be even a week-long lecture, or sometimes 3 days, and sometimes it used to be 6 hours a day. So it was exhausting, but then when you phase it out over the course of the day, it is possible to understand, it is possible to convey a message, a learning better, and particularly when you are present. When you're totally present, you are able to understand the level of absorption and what is hitting and what is not hitting, or where it's gone out. And even sometimes you can even know the question that is coming up in their mind. So you're almost conversing them while delivering your talk. So it's many times it used to be spontaneous. Although you might just know the outline of the subject matter, having prepared a presentation, but it was many times superfluous, because we had to react spontaneously according to the questions that is coming up in their mind. When a particular statement is made, what question there's a different thought process going on in their minds, so we had to be in sync in order to know. So that's how I developed that sixth sense in understanding what is the question that was coming up. And this was often based on how a person is made up, whether he's a left-sided person or a right-sided person. So when I say left-sided person or a right-sided person, what do you mean by that? Now, if a person who has a left sympathetic nervous system very active, means if such a person, particularly if he is in a manager's position or an officer's position where he has to take decisions, arrive at choices, or decide on what to do at that moment, what decision to take, and things like that. So in such people who are left-sided, who have a very strong left side. So now what did I earlier we had seen, left side means it is emotional. It's based on your past memories and reflecting on the past. Whereas right-sided is action-oriented. We want to do action, perform, planning, futuristic, all this. So when we look at it, how does it reflect in the behavior of a person? Now, if it's a left-sided person, someone who is predominantly left. Now, I mean to say, we all are left-sided or right-sided at different times of the day. Sometimes we are emotional, sometimes we are active. So that's a different. But then which becomes a tendency, a vasana, it's approach to life itself, very emotional, always complaining. Like the other day I was talking about how very you enjoy pain. So that kind of a left-sided person, what are his qualities? Let us look at that. So they often think of the past and are very emotional, and they avoid meeting people and are introverts. So then if you put them on the counter, they may not be very proactively involving with the customers. Then they cannot face criticism. And particularly when you are put in a higher post, then if you're not able to face criticism, means there is no way for growth to happen. Such managers are by nature indolent and work little. They lack ambition. They dislike responsibilities. Then they are inherently self-centered and indifferent to the organizational needs. It's 5 o'clock, I have to go home, my kids will be waiting at home, or whatever. So it's more self-oriented rather than the organization-oriented, not the responsibilities of the organization that come second. They are inherently self-centered and indifferent to the organizational needs. They prefer to be led. They need someone's guidance. For everything, should I do this or should I do that? For everything, they'll come to you. So you will be constantly attending to your own work, and you'll also be attending to their work. Literally attending to their work. So they prefer to be led. They want somebody else to make decisions for you. They are by nature resistant to change. Any new thing you want to implement, or any practice or any new circular comes and it has to be implemented, first they will say no. And then we'll have to approach it in 2-3 different angles, and then say this is the way it is, this is the deadline, whatever, and then convince them to, and they get the work done. They are gullible and ready dupe of the charlatans and the demagogue. Susceptible to influence and particularly those who want to get things done. So they are easily vulnerable to influence, external influence. They sit in the corner of the office and try to hide themselves. So they don't want to be visible. Then efforts of the management fail to obtain the desired improvement. However much that is performance appraisal may be there, this is me. So you had better adjust to my this. They won't budge. Then in these type of people, as there is no harmony, which results, there is poor performance. So you can't get things done much here because they lack that self motivation. Even if they have the motivation, they will themselves talk themselves out of it emotionally. No, either out of fear or either out of so many other due to lack of ambition. Means when you dwell on the past, you will be dwelling on the failures. Very few people dwell on your victories. If your victories is only, they're just very momentary. Victories are momentary in the sense it lasts only as long as you get that trophy or a certificate, and that's it. And then you've forgotten about it. But whereas failures, they linger on and on and on over ages, and it never seems to go, and that always influences actions. So it is a speed breaker. Then, in other words, these groups of people are dealt with management by control, and this does not yield optimum results. When you try to control a person, like I've known people like there are people who are habitually late. Always, if 10 o'clock is the time, they'll always come only at 10:10. And even if you post them near or give them a nearby branch, they will be late. People staying 1 hour at a distance away will be on time, but these people will be always like this. So this kind of people, even if you try to control them, do anything, they will not change. So what actually we only suffer, the branch suffers, or I mean the organization suffers because you can't get if you have few staff. Now, as it is in today's times, we see in the branches there are hardly 4.5 people in the branch. Whereas when in our times, it was 50 or 100 people in a branch. So we don't have people. So when you have limited staff, we might as well have the best equipped and best identified. So it's not that these things are wrong, that they should not, that it's their nature. But then if they are appointed, then you have to see where they should be placed and accordingly placed. So then this is as far as the left-sided people are concerned. Then what about the right-sided people? The people who are very action-oriented, futuristic, want to do things. They are always very aggressive. So they want to push things and get things done. They like to dominate over others and make employees or colleagues' life miserable. If there are other people who are a little slow, or if they want to get their way, means if they have to go for lunch, they will see to it that either somebody else does it, or he also attends to his work, and then he'll get his lunch done. Means whatever. Means he'll try to dominate the person. If they are leaders or heads of department, they do not delegate anything. They so as to keep the credit of any success for themselves. They don't want to share the credit of success. Even if somebody else does in the branch, if some individual person has gone out of the way and done some good work, like getting some particular project or done some recovery for the branch, but then they will take the branch will get the credit. And invariably the trophy or this, it goes to the branch. So branch head receives it. So credit goes to the branch manager. So then what happens? The staff get chased off. They say, okay, we do all the running around. Why should we do bother? Right? So then accordingly, the incentivizations are worked around. Then they become a barrier for effective communication. As a proper two-way communications means explanations, questions, criticisms. So when we engage in a conversation with them, there will be always a back and forth. You can't get past. Some people, you just can't get across and the message to them. They're constantly questioning, oh, why this should be done, why this can't be done like that, and why can't be done tomorrow. They'll be questioning you so much you'll get tired, and then you can't get the timeline also may go away, and then you might as well get it done from someone else who's more receptive to what you want to say, because we are all hard pressed for time in an office atmosphere, with so much of deadlines and so much of things to be done within a certain time frame. So even if you see YouTube, I can see every half an hour some new video getting uploaded. If I come to think of it, I would have taken 2 days for even coming up with a subject and then getting into it. So now I don't do that. I just get the subject and do it. So then that's easier for me because I'm very spontaneous. So then spontaneity is very important because we can energetically connect more easily, rather than if you would plan and prepare and then it might not actually register, it might not get across. So then this right-sided people, they are invariably hard taskmasters and workaholics, and may not be able to get best from the people working under them, because they are really like with a cane in hand, get things done. They want to get things done according to this has to be done, and just now that has to be done. So then when they are very strict and sort of very overbearing, it becomes suffocating sometimes. When you have chalked out your pace, like like in a banking atmosphere, you have a certain timing for clearing, a certain time where you decide to post the cash receipts, and then where you decide to fill up the passbooks. So when all these are chalked out, and when someone breathes down on you, then you feel a bit of a suffocation. So then here it becomes difficult to get across in a right-sided person, if who's in the supervisory position. They carry work home. Yeah, this happens often. Used to happen, I don't know now, because nowadays, like everything system is online. Of course, now it is work from home, so you are doing all the work from home. But then in our times, when everything was in the form of files, the files used to go home. So it was really, they carry work home. I used to carry work home myself. I remember when I had to pass on housing loans and somebody wanted housing loans in a week's time, so I would do it. Anyway, that time that was like when you're into the when you're so dedicated, when you're so involved in your work, not dedicated. If you're so involved in your work, then it doesn't become a pressure. It means you actually get things done, particularly when there is shortage of staff. They do not believe in team effort. It becomes difficult when a right-sided person wants to get things done at his pace, at his time, at his according to his own. See, in a team, it involves motivating, inspiring, and they should do it. So you need to delegate, you need to share. Whereas this person wants to keep it all to himself and wants to take credit also, then it becomes a little difficult. So cooperation, coordination, in that cases, a little bit of emotion, a little bit of balance, a little bit of consideration for the other. That's what, placing yourself in the shoes of the other, that becomes very, very relevant, and it comes in the way. The moment someone, that somebody's daughter or child is sick, or somebody is having a patient at home, then you know that you can't pressurize that person. So you automatically put yourself in there, and then have that at the back of your mind before you even give the task. That doesn't mean that the one person won't do it for you. They will, in fact, if you consider that, they will go all out and do it for you. Then these people are always rushing around and looking busy. they like to look busy. There's a Tamil saying, tale pichund odra madri. That means tearing the hair and running around. So they're that feverishly busy. So these are right-sided people's nature. They appraise their subordinates, usually looking at their faults. So the right-sided people, they will, when they are appraising their subordinates, they will appraise it from their own viewpoint. irrespective if they have a grudge, that grudge will come into the appraisal. So they are mostly self-centered and may not be prepared to take decisions with the organization's interest in mind. So these are some of the characteristics of the right-sided people. So when you recruit them, or when you understand that this is the nature of this is the way these people are, when you understand, then how do you so we are not trying to manipulate a person, we are trying to make the best use of resources, so that it's a win-win situation for both of them. They also feel happy in doing the work, and the organization also gets the benefit of the job well done. So here how do you use the energy centers? Provided they are active. See, everybody has this energy system. It is default. It's only how active it is or not. And for being consciously active, you have to just do meditation and just focus on the energy centers. Each of the energy centers for 5, 10, 15 minutes in the morning, according to the availability of time. The moment you focus, you know that it gets activated. You can feel it. The pulsation starts automatically. You can feel the expansion, the feeling of enlargement, right? So it automatically happens. So how do you recognize it? We recognize by the chakras. So the Mooladhara is below the tailbone. So it is not meant to be used. Mooladhara chakra is your grounding chakra, it is your gravity. So that is certain qualities which the person has to maintain. What are the qualities of Mooladhara chakra? It is wisdom, innocence, chastity, and purity. So these are qualities which nobody can dictate from outside. It comes naturally in a person. And that person, those qualities are inherent, and also it needs to be maintained. More important is maintained, and that is done mostly from your childhood, during the up to 6 years, when you have a protected environment around you. Then that innocence is safeguarded, and once that is safeguarded at that age, it's fixed. Like it becomes grounded. Like nobody can shake you after that very easily. So that's important. So that's why parental guidance, parental protection during the early years are very important. So we come to the second chakra. Second chakra is Swadhisthana chakra, is the creativity. Swadhisthana is the second chakra. The creativity. Remember, some knowledge which is appearing in the Sahaja Yoga, some or much what I have written in my books on Sahaja Yoga was out of gratitude to Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi for making a system such as this available. And so, since no books are available on Sahaja Yoga, I wrote that book. And I actually wrote it initially to give as a gift to her, but unfortunately I was not able to give it to her because she was in Italy, and she never came to India after that. So I was not able to give. But then I got an indication that I could publish it. So anyway, so that's now in that book, what is given is all what she taught, means what was from her perspective. But as I applied according to my own individual experience, a number of different things I came across, and I applied it accordingly. So in those places where I found discrepancies, I had to use certain different methods. So I did my own research, application from other books, other scriptures, and that's how the taste developed. The second chakra, while Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi has said, the second chakra, your knowledge, the pure knowledge or something, she said, pure intelligence is on your left side, but it is on your right Swadhisthana. So such discrepancies are there. So please try it out, or approach someone with experiential knowledge, not just theoretical knowledge of or hearsay knowledge. Apply it and test for yourself. Then the third chakra is the Nabhi, which grants us satisfaction, peace, generosity, welfare schemes, welfare and determination, determines our relationship with our spouse. It also controls our success in business and prosperity with honesty. Now here it's meant, although it's meant all these things, generally it gives us a sense of satisfaction, and it also gives us that gut brain sense, that is instinctively you know it. So an instinct, when you follow, you'll get success. Besides, this entire void region is the Guru Tattva, or the primordial womb kind of a thing, from where the knowledge just comes, manifests. So that is why many of the gurus who just became guru by themselves, they were gurus. They didn't have another guru who had. They did, many of them had, but that was just for a formal initiation or something like that. So this Guru Tattva, it is in your void, in your stomach area. So the Guru Tattva is a thing that when it is ignited, when it is kindled, it's a fire. This element of the Nabhi is fire element. So when it is ignited, it teaches you. You become your own guru. So you don't need external validation. So when you don't need external validation, you rely on yourself and you have nobody else to blame other than yourself. So then you learn better, because you can't afford to make a mistake, because you will only be responsible for it. So and you will have to be accountable for it. So then you become your own guru. So then that's how you learn. That's the third chakra. Then the fourth chakra is a heart chakra. Heart chakra is definitely for courage, purity, honesty, authenticity, means your steadiness. That is, you will not it's a steadfastness. I don't know what is steadfastness. That is comes out of courage. And of course, love is there, and it also determines our relationship with our parents, because the right side is the center. There are three hearts actually. The left heart is, which is the pumping station, which is houses your soul. Center heart, which is your power of immunity, the courage. In fact, the white blood corpuscles are formed in the center heart up to the age of 7 or 12, 7 I think. It's this center heart, it manufactures the white blood corpuscles, and after that age it stops. That is, it doesn't increase, that count does not increase. So if you maintain your center heart safe, then you will be immune for life. Then right heart is for your relationship with your parents, particularly father. And even if your father has gone expired also, the ancestral relations connections are there. So then the fifth chakra is known as now here it is mentioned as father, or I mean someone whom you have a very close connection. It need not necessarily be father. In fact, if you go to Tirupati Balaji temple, they have kept one jewel on the right heart of the Lord that is supposed to indicate Lakshmi. Now, externally, when they decorate the statue, the idol, it will be like a emerald or some blue or whatever colors gemstone. But inside on the statue, there is a bulge where it's believed that in one particular incident, Shiva had kicked and it hit Narayana in that heart. And at that time, like Shiva used to live in Vishnu's heart and Vishnu used to live in Shiva's heart. That way, means that was a kind of a closeness between them. So that means someone whom you are very energetically connected. So that's the significance of this right heart. Then the sixth, the Vishuddhi Chakra. Vishuddhi Chakra, as a sound box, but it is also for communication. So communication and relationships. Naturally, through words you speak, the beauty of the words, the sensitivity in your words. Sometimes we use very harsh words. We use words that doesn't need that kind of weight. So that hurts. The weight of the words actually hurts more than the word itself. Sometimes, so you need to be very sensitive about the words, the choice of words we use. And it also indicates diplomacy. Diplomacy, naturally, how you present yourself, how you communicate, both verbally, non-verbally, and all that comes from this. And America is the Vishuddhi center of the universe, of the world. Means Virata Purusha of this entire earth. The Virata Purusha's Vishuddhi Chakra is in America. So naturally, that is why they only lead in communications. They are the ones who dictate to the world. Dictate in the sense, all announcements coming from there is followed. Others may announce, it's forgotten. But what comes from there, that stays, because that's the Vishuddhi Chakra there. So that's why even now, whatever controversies may be there, we look up to it. We look for, in terms of what kind of rulings you follow, what kind of justice you do, what kind of decisions you make. So those things. Even for higher studies, we go there. And actually, we promote that nation because of the going there. That nation becomes the light of the world kind of a thing, Miss Vishuddhi of the world. So it's that way. It's designed like that. Then the sixth sense, there's Agya Chakra, which is it's not it's the third eye. It's generally called the third eye, but it is that Jnana Chakshu, that eye of wisdom it is. For Shiva, it may be the third eye, which is fire, which would burn to ashes, because he is fiery in nature. He was Rudra, Rudra. So he had the third. That doesn't mean that all of us have the third. The third eye is meant for forgiveness, both for others. Jesus said, forgive. Jesus was the incarnation who had come to open the third eye in this world. And what he said, forgive, for they know not what they do, for they know not what they say. So that was the learning, that was the teaching, that's what we had to learn. But then we have converted that as though we are guilty for the suffering that he underwent. So we have converted a positive thing into a pain, and we live with that pain, and it's over and over emphasized, and with the result, that is why so much pain is coming out now. When some kind of an energy activization happens, where you have the hidden energies or the stored up energies, when it's getting released, then this pain gets released also. So that's why that's a cleansing. So it's a passing phase. Let it happen in its natural course, so that we come to know the underlying motivation, underlying reasoning, underlining the past historically what all we have stored in us. So it will be a release. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was to start with something else. It ended up with something else. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. See you soon.